episode of my live Facebook videos where I talk about all things real estate on Definitely Katie. This week's episode, we are hitting one of the frequently asked questions I get from buyers and sellers, which is what is the difference between the CAD value and the appraisal value? So we're gonna jump into that really quick. This will be a pretty short video, so bear with me as we go through it. So when I say CAD value, I'm talking about your tax value, what your county appraisal office comes through and evaluates your property at in like November-ish. And when I say appraisal value, I'm talking about the market value, what the maybe list price or sale price would be, and also another term for that would be when the lender orders the appraisal. If you're on the buyer or seller side, that would be the same thing. So getting into those two, the CAD value or the tax value is going to be, as it sounds, it's the tax appraisal value for what your home is, okay? So what they do in order to determine that number is they measure the size of the lot or the land that you have, and they assign a value to it. Then they go and they measure the outside of the house. They walk the exterior perimeter of your property, and based on that square footage, they assign a property value to it. That's it. That's the tax appraisal value. That's where they get that number. When we're talking about the appraisal value, okay, so again, that's the loan amount, the lender's appraisal value. It is the market value, so what the house sold for, or what you're estimating to sell for, the list price. Those values, the appraiser comes into the home, so they assign a land value just the same, and they also measure the square footage of the house. But where this is different, the inside or the value square footage, is they actually go inside the home. So they walk inside, they measure the square footage of the approximate heated and cooled areas, and in addition to that, they add or subtract value based on upgrades that are or are not present in the house. That is not done on a tax value, okay? So things that may or may not increase or decrease value to your home. They could be things like, what kind of flooring do you have? Do you have carpet everywhere? If you have carpet, that's great. If you have tile or vinyl flooring or laminate flooring or hardwood floors, those are going to add value in comparison to carpet. What kind of countertops do you have? If you have Formica or something similar, that's going to be one value. And then if another home, or if your home has granite or marble or anything of that nature, maybe you have concrete, those are going to be a different value and either an upgrade or not from Formica countertops, right? Another example would be what type of tile or tub covering do you have? Is it a walk-in shower? Do you have a separate tub from a walk-in shower? Are they combined? Does your tub have jets to it? What are some other things? Do you have crown molding in your house? Is your patio covered? Is it a wooded deck? Is your fence falling over? Do you have a fence? Those types of things all determine that appraisal value and are taken into consideration, as well as many others. So that's the difference between the two. The tax appraisal value, they walk the exterior, they give the estimated square footage a price, and they give your land value a price. For the mortgage loan or the lender or market value, the appraiser is going to walk the interior of the house and assign numbers based on upgrades that are or are not present, as well as giving a number to the square footage based on comps in the area and the lot value or land value that is with the property as well. So those are the two differences. Bonus fact is for your tax appraisal, sometimes that is different from your market appraised value, okay? The reason why, especially if your tax appraisal value is lower, that's a good thing is you're paying taxes even though when you buy your house, hey Kelly, thanks for watching. When you buy your house with the tax appraisal being lower, you want it to stay that way. You don't want to pay taxes. Let's use my house for example. We paid $216-ish for our house, and the appraisal value came in much higher than that. Our tax value, I can't even tell you what that number is, but for those numbers, right, I want my tax appraisal to be lower because I want to pay taxes on that lower number. I don't want to pay it, hey Greg, thanks for watching, I don't want to pay it based on what I bought the house for, because that was definitely higher, so I want my taxes to be lower. In addition to that, Texas is a non-disclosure state. What that means is when a property is sold on the MLS in the state of Texas, that value is not distributed anywhere as public knowledge. That stays within the MLS system. The reason that's important is two reasons. One, it's not shared with the county assessor's office, so you will not see that price impacted on your taxes unless you go and disclose it, which I do not recommend, and we can talk about that later. Number two is Zillow. Zillow is, you will see every realtor roll their eyes when you talk about a Zillow value or Zillow price or a Zestimate, and that's because with Texas being a non-disclosure state, that value when you buy the house or when you're selling the house, the Zestimate that you're seeing is based on a national algorithm. Again, because Texas is non-disclosure, the price that it previously sold or what you're listing it as is not going to be given out as public information, public knowledge. So Zillow has nothing to bank their estimates in Texas on property values because they have nothing to go off of. So they are coming up with that number based on a national algorithm, just a bunch of data that they throw together to try to get as close as they can. Now, sometimes those play numbers that they're using can get pretty close. I'm not gonna lie, there's a couple times it's actually pretty close to being accurate, but for the most part it's not. So I don't want you to use that as an indefinite or a definite number that you have in mind of what you want to offer or what you want to list as, because it's not taking local comps into mind when we have that discussion. So those are my little tidbits for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Kelly, Greg, I appreciate y'all sticking on. If you have any other real estate related questions that you would like answered, I'd love for you to throw them in the comments, especially if you have follow-ups about what we discussed today. Send me a DM, whichever, and I'd love to make that a video to go over it or talk to you about it one-on-one. Other than that, I hope you'll have a great week and that everyone stays a little bit dry. I know we've been hounded quite a bit, but other than that, thanks again. Thanks so much. See you soon.